Culture. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to here. Hold on one sec. Yeah, you might have to move.
I got it. I got it.
Cool. All right, guys, welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing Little Voice and Shy Dread for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening and reviewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Join the kingdom. We have a couple for the last couple weeks. We've been running the Joyage Torch Mint for anyone who wants to join the Joyage Kingdom. It's currently the cheapest, easiest way to join at 0.08 ETH. Just DM me on Twitter to purchase. It is all private sales. We also have the Joyage hoodies and joggers coming up, so keep an eye on that because they're fucking fire. I literally wear them every single day. I live out here in Seattle, so it's always sweater weather. But especially in my apartment, I like it cold, so that's what I'd be wearing. Today, we have Evan VARSAMIS, founder of Mintify, the one-stop shop marketplace for Web3. If you haven't already tried it, if you want to tune in, or if you haven't already tried, you definitely want to tune in for this. We'll be interviewing, talking about all the things Web3, NFTs, nerding out over stuff that should not be this interesting, but it is. And I was lucky enough to run into the couple guys of the Mintify team in New York City, including Simon, who I've known for the past year. He was, if you guys remember Simon, he was in last year's NFT NYC vlog, and he jumped in a private. We went into a private party and there was a pool and we paid him half an ETH to jump in. It was like the highlight of the fucking video. So anyways, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Love your glasses.
Thank you, bro. So anyways, yeah, we got a bunch of things to talk about. We'll just start off simple. Actually, no, we'll start off not so simple, I guess. So because there's a lot of people who watch the show, a lot of them are content creators, a lot of them people who are either full-time, want to be full-time, or just have an interest in working in Web3. What skills do you think are necessary? What are the ones that are going to get you hired on a Web3 team? And also, how can you stand out in this world?
Oh, wow. Right on. Okay. So love it. So basically, I think that the most important thing is to have a safety net before you pull the trigger, right? Because you want to make sure that you can, feed your family, you're comfortable creating. So you have that safety net in place. For me, that safety net was I just stepped out from my Web2 company pretty much like mid last year, and I finally exited completely. Like I sold it last month.
Nice.
But I've been in the crypto space since 2015, so I was quite comfortable around crypto, and then I jumped to the Web3 space in 2021, mid 2021, minted Clonex, Proof Collective, and so on. In terms of a skill set, I would say that since the space is not established in any way, we're not even close to like figuring out, hey, you should be good at this or that. I think that just having an open mind and having being a Swiss knife, I think it would be the most helpful, meaning that understanding code, not necessarily writing the best code in the world, but understanding code, understanding how to speak with devs, how to speak with designers. But if I had to pick one, it would be like community building, understanding, what's going to take to actually make my community happy and scale my brand in a sustainable way.
Yeah. Yeah, man, there's a lot of people out here in Web3. A lot of them came from the Web2 world. Well, of course, everyone technically came from the Web2 world. And I know we were talking about a second ago off screen. So do you want to tell me, do you want to introduce like kind of what you did before the Web3 world? Sort of what you just literally kind of came out of that phase,
Sure. Yeah. So basically, I'm 32 now, based in New York City. I started my journey when I was basically 16, 17 years old as a self-taught designer, developer. I had a couple exits by the age of 18, and then I served in the Navy for a year, got my bachelor's degree in shipping and finance, and then I went on and ran a media agency for a couple of years. Between 2012 and last year, I was running my Web2 company, GadgetFlow, scaled it to an 8-figure valuation, reached over 30 million consumers a month. And then I stepped down last summer and exited last month. The story with Mintify started basically towards the end of 2021. So I poached my CTO from my Web2 company, John, and we've built the MVP of Mintify between January last year and March. And that's how, things started.
Damn, dude. What is it like what's it like launching something that big? Because most people are out here dropping NFT projects. How different is it dropping a marketplace style tool thing that's more focused on like what people want? I feel like that is a terrifying endeavor in Web3 because so many people, they just want, and nothing's good enough. And, even if there is something that's good enough, like for example, what I thought was funny is I just saw this on Instagram stories, and it was someone it was some account that just posted all the news, right? And there was an article, it was like, Amazon, it was in all caps, Amazon delays NFT marketplace launch, whatever. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, what would have happened if they didn't delay it though? It would have just been Amazon delivers this, but lackluster, or Amazon, and they should have done. And I'm just like, bro, fuck, this is exhausting, dude. What's it like?
I feel you. Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100% how it feels. I think that, so a couple things. I feel like everything right now in the space is in beta mode, right? I don't think that there's a complete suite of tools or products out there compared to like what we're doing is that we're building a business, not just a product. We're trying to scale this into a business.
Mm,
And that has been our mindset since pretty much like our early days. And that's pure experience basically from scaling web to companies before. You can avoid some of the most obvious pitfalls, right? Whereas the majority of like project creators in the Web3 space, this is for whether that's good or bad, this is their first rodeo.
yeah.
So they bump into like a lot of issues, and it's kind of like I would say slightly harder. Now, I think that the biggest issue with the space right now is that not a lot of people, with just a few exceptions, right, know how to run a business and how to make their community happy, not just today and tomorrow and next week, but for the years to come.
Mm,
And then there's like resources come into play as well. Like how do you build a business if you have to satisfy your community literally every other day in a
right.
sense, right? If not daily. So I think that this is the biggest challenge, and this is what we're all trying to figure out right now. From the big builders, the small builders, the experienced, the first timers, the
Mm.
newbies, and everyone in between.
Dude, it is tiring. And what's funny is I remember I was talking to PO from the Nifty Morning Show, and he was talking about the fact that he said it was kind of weird that in this Web3 world, how do I say this? Like content has always existed, businesses have always existed, brands have always existed, but in Web3, it's like because there's so much of a big new thing. Like I thought it was interesting, like how many people will talk about, or if I make a lot of content, for example, and maybe I'll get a compliment saying, like, I don't know how you make so much content, but in the real world, like from like the non-Web3 little niche we're in, I'm like as average as it gets for the amount of content I'm putting out. There's tons of people putting out lots of content, but because we're in this small little world, this puddle of Web3, I've kind of found that like if you can just like have one thing that's a little bit different, a little bit unique, it's much easier to stand out in this little puddle because there's not that many people. But you do like have to have
True.
something unique. You do need to have something unique. But because of that, like you do have a much bigger opportunity. Now, like you said, even though it's a smaller pool of people and there is opportunities, I feel like there's like the level of person coming in and investing and stuff like that. It's a lot different. It's a lot of kids. Like I don't know what is your demographic right now for the amount of people in Discords and who are talking using Mintify and stuff like that.
No, I agree, and I want to tap into that as well in a second. But in terms of demographics, I would say that we're between like 25, 35, pretty much the average, and more, people that are interested in a more sophisticated way for trading NFTs. But our goal is like, not just the current state of the market, but the future state of the market. And that's what we're building for,
Mm,
supporting all NFT economies, not just BFPs, but building like dashboards for games, like individual games, and trading music, art, virtual land, and everything in between. So it's kind of different. Like I think that a lot of people interested in Mintify that are like quants, from the pro trading side, enthusiasts, collectors. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it.
true, dude. True. I got some questions I had. I forget some of these were asked like in Discord. Some of these were asked just like from things that I was wondering before. This one's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me because I've had a lot of different opinions on it. For Coinbase potentially leaving the United States, there's been lots of things that come out every single day, so I'm not always completely on top of it. But the last thing I heard is a lot of people are nervous about this. People like Crypto Wendy O, big name in the industry, was like, if this happens, it's fucking over. It's like over, not over, but it's gonna be really fucking bad. Curious on your thoughts. Is this a concern for Mintify as well? What do you think?
Yeah, so that's a great topic actually, and this is a much broader conversation, I guess, or topic. I think that yes, the U.S. is lagging, and being like a Greek, basically born and raised, moving to the U.S. I was kind of shocked with the regulatory environment the last like 2-3 years. I was expecting to be like, much more up to date, let's say, with the current state of the market. But I feel like they've lagged all these years because no one was taking crypto seriously.
Yeah,
Perhaps behind the scenes, they were like, waiting and watching. But after the 2017 bull run, and then the last couple of years, things pretty much like exploded. So now they're just chasing their tails. That's how I personally see it.
mm,
The 2 or 3 big issues that are currently that I basically see in front of me are you don't have regulatory guidance, which means that whatever you end up doing with your US based company to your community, whether that's a token, whether that's staking mechanics or anything, you're, as a founder, you're tipping the toes into the gray zone. And you don't want to be in the gray zone if you're like in the States, right? You want to do things by the book. So one of the things that we, for instance, see as being like a big bottleneck is that we see collections that are based in Singapore or like, all these islands, you name it. And you just can't compete with what they're offering, right? Like you see brands, for instance, launching tokens like this within days. And they're like, hey everyone, free money, right? Like they can do that. No one's going to chase them. Is it legal in the US? Absolutely no, but on the other hand, there's no guidance as well. And then you have like people that are innovating, they're creating literally new technologies. So, with staking mechanics, on-chain staking, rewards-based systems, are these legal? No one knows yet. So that's why we've been like a bit more cautious from our end. Like we've never announced the token. We've never announced, for instance, like something specific to staking as of now, but we're waiting. We're trying to go with the flow. But in terms of like competition, yes, we're being destroyed in terms of like what we can offer as a US-based business versus what an Asian-based business can offer today. I feel like Coinbase is pretty much like the only US crypto company basically that can, like push the boundaries here. Yeah. And I'm very grateful that they're doing so.
Dude, I would not want to be them. It's just like, dude, oh my God. There's a video of the podcast, this guy named Iman Ghatzi. He's this guy going around, he's done like tons of podcasts now. He's like this ultra rich entrepreneur dude. And he was talking about like one of the questions he got, I remember, was like, would you want to become a billionaire? Or like, there's a certain number. And he was like, no, there's a certain number I don't really want to cross. He was like, because to get that it's just like a lot of fucking work. And then there's no need. Like, I'm already fucking rich. And he said, the second thing, the second you get to that level, now you got a target on your back. And there's all these people who want things. He goes, I got enough people already wanting things. And dude, being Coinbase, like, yes, you're the market leader. Yes, OpenSea, you're the market leader. And then, dude, everyone's coming after you. Everyone's wondering why you don't have this, why you don't have that. Blur comes out, does something. OpenSea's got to make a response to it. Have you had any like rivals? And has there been any cool like war stories between you guys and anyone else?
That's a good one. So yes and no. I would say that what happens between like the marketplace is this last, I would say, 5 months or so. We kind of saw that coming last year when we were building our MVP. We saw a world in which it's multi-chain and multi-marketplace. So the market share that they're fighting for right now, it's kind of like short-term if you think about it. I don't think that there's going to be like Web3 is all about, basically having options, being multi-chain, cross-chain solutions. So I think that I believe that what we're building basically, it's, it's all about capitalizing on that. We don't see a world in which the games, you're going to be buying game assets on Blur or OpenSea or X2Y2. We feel like there's going to be like separate blockchains, EVMs and this and that. And our infrastructure is built in a way that can support all of that in a matter of hours instead of like, weeks and months of development. So I don't feel like, competition is good in the market because that's how you innovate. That's how you push the boundaries, right? Yep. I think you can agree on that. But from our perspective, for sure, like we might see like a competitor launching a product or a feature, for example, and we might go after it because people love it. So we got to support it, right? Yep. Same thing might happen with people that see something that we're launching, something proprietary, innovative, and they might try to replicate it. So I feel that part is absolutely good. But as far as like market share goes, I don't think that's going to be an issue like in a few quarters from today. Sure. I feel like everyone is going to be, it's all about the trading experience. It's all about, like where you feel more comfortable doing what you're doing rather than just fighting for the 0.5 or 1%, for instance, marketplace fees. And at some point, hey, all marketplaces are going to be streamlined, right? It can be just, let's all go to zero. So
that's very true. I have a question I want to ask in a second, but I also want to say, guys, if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're at, or if you're in Spaces, I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, hit that retweet button if you're enjoying this conversation. Bottom right icon's a little message thing. Hit the tags, likes, retweets, all the things help. I appreciate y'all. Also, we'll just start this giveaway now. A midstream giveaway. I'm going to give away, I'm not sure yet, maybe like an Izu NFT. I don't know. I'll give away some kind of NFT. If you guys want to enter that, all you got to do is be following myself, Evan, and Mintify. You can click on Evan and Mintify at the top. They're both, I believe they're both co-hosts, or they're somewhere at the top. If you follow both of us or all three of us and you screenshot wherever you're at, if you're on YouTube, if you're on video stream, if you're at Spaces, whatever, screenshot it, tweet it and tag us. But I will be checking if you followed and if you hit that retweet button. But if you want to enter for the free giveaway, that's all you got to fucking do. There will be no sound effects today, guys. It's a massive L in the Joyage Kingdom today. I literally was so excited. I finally, after months, set up my RodeCaster to have certain music and sounds that I wanted. And then this morning I go in to check and it's like all bugging out and I'm no idea what's wrong with it. So I'm gonna spend the rest of the afternoon fixing it. But yeah, if you guys want to enter that giveaway, you guys know we do you right. If you guys watching this show, everyone's taking W. So anyways, Evan, what do you say when people ask you what you do, or what happens if you get in an Uber and someone asks you what you do? Do you have a quick answer? Do you try and convince them to join NFTs in one car ride? Like, what do you normally do?
Wow, one customer at a time, right? No, I feel like I feel like first we gotta convince the community on what are like what's like the next phase of our space, I guess, to what's like the next big step for all of us. I don't think that it's easy to convert a normie, right? No, someone that's not familiar with crypto, not familiar with like NFTs. I feel like it's gonna take like hours, and it's gonna take actually it takes effort from their end, right? If they don't do a research, it's not like trust me, bro, jump into NFTs, right? It
Right.
like they gotta figure it out. They gotta wire it properly. They gotta make sure they understand it. So if they don't put in the time and the effort, they'll never get it. It's the same with me. Like right when I was moving to the States in 2021 for good with my wife, I basically saw Bored Apes minting and I added it to my reading list. So I right,
Yeah.
and I was like, what is this? Like I'll figure it out
Right.
later. And then I was bummed, but whatever. Everything happens for a reason, right? It's
Yeah.
fine. And what I realized is that I feel like I'm crypto native. I've been in the space since 2015, right? So it kind of took me like 5 articles, 6 articles, some Reddit conversations, right, to kind of like figure out. And I'm like, holy shit, this all makes sense now. Like I'm in. So imagine if it took me 5 hours,
Yeah.
right? Which I want to believe that I'm above average in terms of like how close I am to the tech and the crypto side. Imagine a normie. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that, hey, jump on NFTs, but what I say is like, I'm a founder and CEO of a fintech company, like, oh cool, right? So you're like Robin Hood. Ah.
You're like, well, maybe, but don't compare me to them. That's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
I think you may have said it a second ago when you were telling the original origin story. Like, what gave the original idea behind choosing to do Mintify over any other endeavor?
Whew. I like complicated things. So I feel like, I've been in the Web2 space since the beginning of my career, and I kind of like experienced in my teens the birth of the Web2 space, the Silicon Valley times, the startups, the successes overnight, right? The so-called success
Mm.
overnight. Damn, I have like Twitter for like 15 years now. I just saw
Oh,
that
you really?
yesterday. I was like, damn. um, but no, I mean, I wasn't my journey started in like mid 2021 in the Web3 space, like I said, and after trading a few collections, wasn't happy with the tooling, and I felt, kind of this euphoria being at the right space, at the right place at the right time with the right resources, but most importantly with the right experience as well. So I
Mm.
felt like, hey, I gotta try this. I gotta build this, right? So it took us like 3 months to take, the entire thought and put it into like an MVP. We then started basically creating our community. We hired our biggest advocates, our biggest community advocates, basically.
Okay.
We have a team of 12 people today that were initial, like our early supporters, like in literally our first 100 Discord members. Now we have like over 14, 15,000. And then as soon as we proved our thesis in June, July, we started raising a small round, raised 1.6 million. Some very reputable investors that are part of our group. And yeah, here we are today.
Have you been messing with AI at all for the company? Is there anything that's piqued your interest? Are you even messing with that? Like, is there too many things going on there right now? Are any of them even helpful to you?
Yeah. Yes, yes, and yes. So, grew up as a gamer. I was always into like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty tournaments, Counter Strike 1.6 back in the day. I don't even know if you game at all. But like on the NFT side, it kind of everything made sense
Yeah.
once I figured out like how NFTs and blockchain tech is gonna pretty much like merge and involve games, art, collectibles, physical art, and everything in between. I wasn't expecting the AI, let's just say, boom that happened like in March this year with ChatGPT and
That
everything.
was crazy.
I was using ChatGPT for like some basic stuff, and then I started using like version 3 and then version 4, and then I ended up subscribing. I've been using Midjourney.
Mm.
So I see where the future is heading. I see that it's going to be a big issue for a lot of people that are doing some entry level, let's just say, you know, from the writers to like designers and this and that. It's going to be a massive issue in the next few years. But um, I'm working right now on a few things. I can fully describe what we're working on, but you know, there is a world in which obviously AI is going to kind of like be the dominant technology. So you won't have to just reinvent the wheel if you have an idea for a startup or a product or a SaaS product, whatever, right? You won't have to reinvent the wheel, but rather, you know, like do it yourself, even if you don't know how to code. Basically, we've seen people creating games, we've seen people creating viruses, unfortunately, right? But you know, everyone saw that coming.
Yep.
You can't have either or. You actually have, you know, the good parts and the bad parts of AI. So yeah, I just feel like the craze is gonna keep going. I feel like we're just in the early stages, right? If I had to compare it to crypto, we're like 2013 of crypto right now with
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. We're like, even though the tech is there and everything, there's just so many restrictions right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like everything that's being built, from the plugins for OpenAI to like everyone else that's building real businesses, it's just crazy. Like I literally see people doing six-figure businesses within a week's worth of work, and by work I mean figuring out the prompts for AI,
Dude,
not
prompts,
even writing a line
it's
of code.
all in the fucking prompts. I didn't realize, because I had used, it was a couple months ago, and I was like, I had used ChatGPT sometimes. I love Midjourney. I love just messing on Midjourney. I'm a fucking
Yeah.
nerd about that stuff. But ChatGPT, I just couldn't get, like, something that I thought was interesting is I suck at math. I was like horrible at math, so bad that like teachers literally thought I had a problem. They were like, are you like good? Like this should be very fucking simple and you don't understand this. And I think I had a mental block, and I took computer science in college and I flunked so badly. It was actually embarrassing. I cheated on every single test and still failed the class. It was that hard. Like, I don't know what it is about my brain. It couldn't get to work. So prompts, when those came up, the reason I was so bad at math and computer science, I never knew where to start. And I wasn't confident enough in my abilities to choose a decision or like make any decisions. So I would just sit there and not know what to do. And so with ChatGPT, it was like my worst fucking nightmare. It's like, okay, you're the one who tells the AI what to do. And I was like, I don't know how to ask it what I want to get what I want. And then my friends were like, no, try this prompt, try this. Like, think about it like this, this, and this. And I was like, oh shit. And so I started using ChatGPT all the time. Love that fucking app. Are there any, like, while we're here, are there any other AI tools that you love that you use on like a daily basis that people should know about?
Nice. Yeah, so I actually started an AI based, machine learning based company called HustleClick with a couple of friends of mine, like 3 years ago, way before ChatGPT. So the idea was that we created an algorithm based on Google Cloud that was using machine learning to, we fed it with information basically in articles, so you can adapt to your way of writing and everything. And it could basically produce like Amazon friendly titles, descriptions, and SEO friendly content for your blog. But obviously, to scale this, it's resource hungry. Like you literally need to put in like hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of, if not millions of dollars, right? So we kind of like, once we figured out the competition like about a year ago, we kind of like, you know, pulled the trigger on this one. But in terms of like other tools, I feel like I've bumped into so many Twitter threads, dude. So many Twitter threads with people saying like, "Here are my favorite tools," and they list like 120 tools.
I know,
And I'm
dude.
like, I'm not gonna go over that.
And they
I'm not
don't
gonna
use
even
any of them,
bookmark
bro.
this.
They don't literally use any of them.
Right, exactly. So who has the time to just use old tools all day? I mean, tools can help you at the end of the day, right? Like do things faster and better. But I don't think it's realistic, all of us, you know, to just transition into a world in which we just rely on these tools, like 100 tools, for instance, or 20 tools. I feel like Midjourney, and there's like Enhance IO, I think. I've been using that for like, I don't even know, like 4 years now. You can take like an image that's like 200 by 200 and scale it to like 5,000 by 5,000, for instance, right? So it's like AI-based app scaling. I was shocked with like the Drake song that came out over the weekend. So I'm like, I don't even know what's gonna happen there, to be honest, dude.
Dude, it's fucked. I've seen a lot of shit like that. Like there's songs now. There was a podcast that duped me even. It was going around. It was for ashwagandha, and it was Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman, these two like thought leaders in the internet space, right? They're on a podcast and they're talking about something, and someone had stitched together this fake promo. And I didn't even, it was so good that I didn't realize A, that it was a promo at all, and B, that I'm pretty sure there was like a commission referral link. So this guy is fucking rich because he made like multiple videos that went viral. It wasn't real. They literally weren't talking about ashwagandha, I think. And I tried it and it sucked, bro. I tried it for like 3 weeks. It was great. I was like stoic. And then I just got like horrible anxiety. Like, and I've had anxiety my whole life. So like, I did not expect to have this level of anxiety. And I was like, damn, it's just one of those things I should just kind of power through. Cause you know, I'm fine. I can do that. And then I went online, like all these people, it was just kind of like split down the middle. And then when I found out Rogan didn't even endorse it, it was some random video. I was like, oh no, this is bad because this is getting worse every single day. We don't know what's real, what's not. There was an Elon Musk video that went a couple months ago that, I mean, it seemed like it was fake, but also like, I could see Elon Musk doing some random shit, saying some random shit. You wouldn't really know. And who are you going to trust to be these like new righteous, this is real, this is not real? Like, how would they know? It's some scary shit.
Exactly. Bro. Exactly. And if you include like deepfakes as well on top of that, and then imagine like, you know, ChatGPT integrated with like social media and creating information.
Did you see Snapchat's integration?
I know, dude. It's just crazy. If you think about it, like if we're having a hard time, if US is having a hard time keeping up with like everything crypto and NFT related that's been around for years, imagine what's happening right now in the AI space, right? It's almost impossible. And Elon Musk basically went to Congress and sent like a letter and this and that, and he's being vocal about it. And that's I support him any way I can, basically, right? Like I support his point of view because I feel like it's going to become like a big issue real fast, and we're not even close to a solution. How do you prevent, for instance, like you know, a ChatGPT plugin from getting access to Twitter and spreading misinformation about COVID 2.0 or this or that? I just feel like it's impossible, and I think that the only solution that we're going to bump into the future is basically figuring out how do we use AI to stop AI from like these kind of events from occurring.
Yeah, man. I was when I was on Snapchat yesterday, I was kind of testing out the AI to make some videos, and I was just asking a question. I was trying to trap it a little bit. Not gonna lie, like I was trying to see if I could like, because AI is, I mean, relatively new for like, I mean, especially for Snapchat, it's like within days of being dropped, and I was like, okay, like let me figure out something here. And I was like trying to figure out a way to like get it to say something maybe it's not supposed to say or whatever. And there's one point where it was like, I'm a robot, I'm an AI, I don't have thoughts, I don't have feelings, don't have opinions. And then like 2 messages later, it's like, well, here's my personal opinion. And it gives me, and I was like, I thought you don't have one. And it was like, oh, that was my mistake. And I was like, okay, so we are very fucking brand new to this. And what's cool is because it's brand new, just like Web3 was, it's not really brand new, but as far as the mainstream, as far as Twitter influencers, YouTuber influencers, relatively new in the last few years. Dude, this shit's really fucking early. Like, I always compare every industry to the fitness one because in my eyes, they're all the same. They're just an industry with certain people who are loud, people who watch the content, and then people who participate in the stuff. And so with AI stuff, I'm like, dude, there's a ton of people making tons of money right now. My friend Gannon was telling me about his friend who started a newsletter. In 3 weeks, they had like 30,000 new people. It was nuts, bro. There are massive things going on. And also with AI, at least these, you know, the new technologies, it leads to rapid growth, everything else. Your thoughts on like CBDCs used for like a universal based income is something I thought maybe would happen like 6 months ago. And now I'm starting to see a lot of people talk about it. And I'm like, was I actually on the money there? Because that's terrifying if it is. Because I saw Korea and China are implementing this a little bit. There's a video of these kids in school somewhere in Asia, and they like couldn't get food unless they had a certain credit score based on like how they're doing at school and stuff. And I was like, damn.
It's the opposite of decentralization. I feel like decentralization for like first world countries, like Europe, you know, some Asian countries, the US and so on is a myth. Like it's never going to happen. I don't see it happening anytime soon or ever. Right. And if you're a realist, you pretty much like share that thought as well. I feel like there's a world in which things are kind of in the middle, but for that, you know, there's got to be like there are so moving parts for that to happen, and I don't even know if that's even possible technically. CBDC is a thing that it's a step closer for most governments to have more control over financials, over their currencies, over like their citizens and this and that. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I can't just figure it out just yet because it's experimental. What I know is that you can see what's happening right now in China with WeChat. You can see, for instance, how suppressed, for instance, some people are there, and in terms of like like the credit score not being able to buy food. That's a reality that we're heading into. I don't want to, I can't express like my honest feedback here, I guess, but the everything that's going to pretty much like unfold around like, fintech products and CBDCs in the coming years are going to define the next 500 years, the way I see it. Because we're technically building like right now like the infrastructure, but I feel like people have like way more say now versus 20 years ago versus 100 years ago, and especially versus 1,000 years ago, right? So I feel like I don't think it's going to be as easy for any government to just enforce it with no backlash or any of that, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be scary, dude. Because in my head, I don't look at the way I look at it more of this is going to be a nice extra incentive in the same way when people were getting their unemployment checks during COVID and people stopped going to work because they're like, why the fuck would I go back to work when I'm making more money sitting at home doing nothing from the government? I was like, dude, I feel like that's how they're going to get us. They're going to give us free money and say, do you want this or not? And we're going to say, fuck yeah, I want an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month. They're like, okay, well, you have to sign up for this. And you're like, but it's $2,000 a month. Like, how many people could use $2,000 a month that will say yes to that, sign up? Now, they're like, okay, well, look, if you signed up, like we gave you $2,000, but you broke this rule. And we said, if you break this rule, you can't drive for a week. And it's like, dude, the speed at which that kind of stuff happens, I think is going to be kind of terrifying because we saw it with COVID. Like they literally just started making stuff up and we're like, oh, you can't do this anymore. And you're like, okay, well, what's the rule? They're like, well, it's based on like whichever like city you're in. You're like, what? Like they're like making stuff up as we go. And I'm like, dude, this is scary for me. I don't know. This is scary for me. Anyways,
I think that it's a scale between like, people feeling comfortable and trying to take advantage of the system and get that $2,000, let's just say, versus people that are thinking, what happens after that. And unfortunately, if we take as an example, if we take as a sample, the Web2 world, and, just a silly example here, surveys, right? How many emails have you received the last 10 years saying, here's a $50 Amazon gift card to spend like 1 hour of your time to do this or that? There are so many things that you can do to incentivize the usage of a new technology or a new approach or this or that. But I don't think that it's going to be as easy as just incentivizing based on, we're going to give you $2,000. So we control your driving license now if you do this or that. But on the other hand, let's talk about something more positive, perhaps. How excited are you about blockchain technology, for instance, being part of how you're running your county or how you're running your city, for instance, right? Like, for instance, you have points as a citizen and you're like, okay, what should we prioritize? Schools, potholes, this or that. What's the priority? And you have like, a democracy, I guess, from on a blockchain side, voting on what are the most essential or important issues to resolve first. You have complete transparency of, your city's order book or wallet or whatever. I'm kind of excited for that. I feel like the states could lead that change in the next 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. I don't know. Might be a bit of a stretch, but I see that happening.
I see a lot of the companies adopting it. There's a lot of Web3 initiatives they can toss into their normal stuff and just replace certain old systems and whatever. And people like when people want something and then one of their favorite competitors does it, then they just expect everyone to follow. Like if you're a loyal Gymshark, fanatic, you like going to the gym, you want to wear Gymshark, but then Alpha Elite comes and does something kind of revolutionary, kind of better than Gymshark, and everyone goes, well, fuck, like, what y'all got to say about that? And then Gymshark goes, damn, like we either got to one up them or we got to do something. So I'm like, the second we get a couple good stories out of it, a couple success stories, which I don't know why people think it's like, it's never going to happen because this. I'm like, guys, we are one away, one of it working to change the entire thing. If one pair of our augmented reality glasses hits the market and it crushes, it's over. The same way when ChatGPT hit the market and crushed it, and now AI is on the scene. I'm like, we are that close to it. So it makes me excited. And I have a question that's sort of like, I guess it's not really out of left field. It's sort of, we'll just give more context to this conversation. Also, guys, if you haven't entered the giveaway, if you're in space right now, hit that top, right at the very top. You can see the pinned stuff. One of them is the video stream if you want to check us out. And then the second one is enter the NFT giveaway. So all the details are there for that. I'll be choosing the winner during the stream. But this is a question I stole from another podcaster because I think it's the best one I've ever seen.
Which one?
What do I need to know about you? What do we as an audience need to know about you or your own community to understand who you are as a person, where Mintify is going, your thoughts on the future, and all that stuff.
Wow, another big one. Okay, so you're spreading those out. I get it now. Right. So I think that the way we're running things on Mintify is that we're basically building a product that's going to be for the years to come, and it's going to be supporting all NFT economies, not just the current state of the market. I feel like the products that are available right now in this space, the products that are trending every other month, some people using product X for 2 months, and then there are incentives to use product Y, and then there are incentives to use product X again. So that back and forth, I don't feel like that's sustainable. People chasing rewards, but I do feel like most products and companies out there are going to continue doing so. So what we're building is basically the Bloomberg terminal for NFTs. You can take advantage like all the technology that we've built. We have our own infrastructure. We're a multi-chain, multi-marketplace. And you can still go after those incentives if you want to shop from marketplace A because they offer you tokens or points or rewards. You can do so through Mintify today. That said, we're not gonna try to expedite the token launch. We're not gonna try to do something crazy so we can succeed overnight, because we feel like, taking it one step at a time and making sure that we're not tipping our toes into that gray zone that I've talked about earlier might not be the fastest way to succeed or grow scale. Yep. But hey, I don't want to be in jail in like a year from today. I don't want to be in jail in 5 years from today. So I want to do it in a way that's sustainable, that's pushing this industry forward. And it kind of like sets the example as well for other founders and executive teams to kind of follow the same approach, because everyone is blinded right now with like all the rewards and the fast returns and the fast flips that are happening in the space, which there's nothing wrong with making money, but it's just, people don't realize that it's not sustainable. Yeah. Most of the traders in the Web3 space today realize that this is a space that you can go in, buy something with 1 ETH and sell it 1.1 within seconds or minutes or whatever, right? Yeah. That's not sustainable, right? Like that was crypto back in the day. That's like the shit coins of today as well that are happening. We see so many meme coins launching as well. You can do that, but just keep in mind that you're not investing in a similar way that you'd invest on an S&P 500 or like any security. And I think that what we're building and how we're building it plays an important role in what kind of community we're creating. And we see that our community has been with us since our early days, right? Like I would say that over 60 or 70% of our initial members back in January, February 2022 are still here. Might not be chatting every single day, right? Might not be like saying GM every single day, but they're still here watching, putting emojis, giving us feedback, and following our journey. And it's a multi-year journey. It's not like we're not building just a collection. I don't feel like we're a collection. I don't feel like we're just a product. We're building a business. And the earlier you jump into our community, you're part of Mintify, the more exposure you're getting and the more involved you're going to be. And you're going to help us create that beautiful, basically, business that we've been working on for over a year at this point.
What do you think, like, if someone wants to start a company similar to Mintify or just in the realm of Web3, what kind of mistakes do you foresee them probably making? And is it inevitable? Is it even okay that they're going to make these mistakes? Or are there certain mistakes where you're like, you could probably not make that mistake and be totally fine for the rest of your life kind of thing?
I see 2 or 3 things that most people that start a business for the first time will probably have to face at some point. One is failing fast. It's pretty common at this point. That came out of like the Silicon Valley times. Like I see a lot of businesses failing within like months instead of just years. So there's nothing wrong with failing fast, right? It's just that if you have a product that's not working, you can't acquire customers, either try to pivot or just stop trying to scale it. It's a lot of people say, I'm never quitting. Of course you should never quit, but you gotta change something. Otherwise, what's the point of pursuing something that's unachievable? The second mistake is that I see people making is obviously, and I'm talking about founders primarily in the space, is basically trying to capitalize on their small following, their community, or their big following, right? And pump and dump either their own company, their own collection, their own token that they're launching, without understanding the implications, like you know, 5 months later or 5 years later. Someone's going to knock their door, and that's inevitable depending on whether they're based. So I don't think it's worth it. Even if your friends are doing it, even if you're, you know, a person that you look up to is doing it, even if an account that you're following for years is doing it, always think long term in terms of like the implications of your actions. I think that's, you know, that's something that a lot of people find the hard way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
The third thing I would say is, you know, like there's a fine line between building a community and rewarding that community with you know, like figuring out, I guess, whether you want to build something long term, whether you want to build something so everyone is going to talk about you, right? You can build hype, but it's almost impossible to maintain that hype. You can be the number one most talked, let's just say, collection on Twitter right now for like a month or 2 months or 6 months, but there's no way you're going to be, you know, the most talked about collection for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't capitalize on that short-term momentum that you're having, you're just going to lose it. So everyone talking about you and saying how awesome you are, that's fun, that's great, you feel pumped, right? But how's that going to translate into putting that energy back to your company and scaling it for the years to come, instead of just saying thanks guys, you know, that's awesome, I'm OG now.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think about some of the projects that have dropped in? There's some leaders I hear. There's been some projects that have been leading for 2 years, basically straight. Thoughts on how they've been run? Things that you think the Web3
Yeah.
market, the Web3 world could improve on? Just like, what are your perspectives on that?
Things that the Web3 market can improve on. Okay, you got an hour. All right. So no, I'm serious here. I think that some of the biggest collections that I'm a big fan of, regardless of, you know, some of the bad takes that you may hear from the majority. I'm a big, you know, Yuga fan personally. Not financial advice. Just let's just make sure that that's loud and clear. Support like Proof, Moonbirds, Proof Collective as a company. Big fan of Kevin Rose. I've been following him for like 15 years since the Dignation times. Basically everything related to like CloneX, you know, Nike's behind it, but even before that, Artifact Studios is just an amazing studio, and I'm eager to see like what they're gonna build next. I had some exposure to Doodles early on, and I've tapped into most of the big collections in the space. I feel like, you know, it's right now it's closer to even for the reputables run, right? It really depends on what are your goals. Like if you want to tip your toes into Web3, are you here long term? Are you here short term? You know, that's the biggest argument that I hear. The majority of people between like 20, 25-year-olds, they're obviously after you know, like short term gains. Like the more the better, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine, I guess. If you're here to buy art, you know, like you can FUD, you can ignore the Proof team. They're just killing it right now. What went wrong there was that pretty much like everyone figured out that you know, they hope that something that started at 5 ETH or 10 ETH and went to 40 ETH is going to go to 1,000 ETH, whereas, you know, unfortunately that wasn't the case. But if you're here for the next 5 years, chances are that they're going to make it. Again, financial advice, but they have so much capital, so many resources, great people in the team as well, so they're building something great. So on a personal level, I usually diversify my NFT portfolio in a way that where do I see this XYZ collection or company basically being in, you know, anywhere from a year to 5 years from today. So long term. Of course, I flipped. You know, I've flipped a few collections. I flipped Nakamigos. I flipped like a few of the projects that are out there because it's fun. You know, sometimes it's like the more time you spend. The more time you spend basically in the market, the easier it is to understand those trends. So you can capitalize on them. But in terms of like what the Web3 space, you know, has to change is, if I had to pick like a few things, I would start with, you know, basically us as a community, as part of like other communities, part of collections, realizing that it's not just about the next announcement. It's not just about the next big thing. That thing is not sustainable. And we're all figuring that out now, you know, as a big Web3 community. Let's just say these last few months, we're in a bear market. People are building, the true builders are still here. And I like seeing that a lot. I love seeing like some of the people that I was chatting with in the space you know, at the beginning or mid 2021. They're still here. They're still building. And building takes years. Like we're at the beginning of an entire new cycle of the web space. That's why we call it Web 3, right? We're going from
Yeah.
Web 2 to Web 3. It's not going to happen overnight. I feel like mass adoption is going to come with products and companies like Reddit, right? With products like Starbucks, what they're doing right now, their word system. That's going to take quarters and years, right? And I feel like the next big thing in our space is going to be gaming. There's no doubt about that.
I was gonna
Again, I grew
ask.
up, yeah, like gaming. I feel like that's the next big thing. A lot of gamers are like against it, but once they realize how it works, once they do their due diligence and everything, once they figure it out, and once they realize the potential that they have, you see what's happening with, you know, the Counter-Strike skins. You see what's happening with the other side assets. Imagine now, like all the pro gamers finally being rewarded in millions of dollars because of how smart and good they are at the game that they're playing. And that's not just it. Creators like yourself, like you can see like the entire ecosystem being built on top of that technology, and that's gonna happen. Like it's one of the things that I'm kind of, you know, confident about in the space.
When I watch Ready Player One, I feel like I talk about this all the time, but when I watch Ready Player One, there are so many times in that movie where I'm like, this is like absolutely some version of this is coming no matter what. Just because I'm like, if we're in this virtual world where everything, the answer is yes, like whatever your heart desires is probably out there. Dude, like the most niche industries are gonna like the sex industry, when that stuff starts to pop, is gonna be like probably the biggest industry ever. I think that industry, there's a few industries that I think are so niche and are like sort of on the rise because of like YouTubers that are working with some of these people from that industry, and they're like blowing up obviously because so many people on the internet are just dudes who are just like, you know, eye candy. And anyways, the world of Ready Player One, where everything sort of becomes probably 30% more gamified. Like right now, if you walk down the street, people are either walking to work or they're walking to a coffee shop or something along those lines. But in our world, it's like, yo, you could be walking to go enter into some random like giveaway that has like a scavenger hunt in the metaverse or some kind of race like they had in Ready Player One. I just think there's gonna be opportunities that are capitalistic in nature, but also gamified in nature. And then obviously the
100%.
assets just be the NFTs. And I don't know, man. It just like that sounds
It's
pretty
gonna
good.
happen, dude.
That sounds good to me. Like, what role do you hope to play when that stuff starts to become a thing? Are you hoping you're retired so you can do whatever you want? Do you have a certain position you want to be like working as, or what?
So no, I mean, I've been from what perspective? At a
Like
personal
for
level,
yourself,
on
like
the
yeah, on a personal level.
yeah, right. So I mean, I still game. I still play Call of Duty, Warzone. Like I try
Hey,
to like, you know, every here and there, like throughout the week. That's like, you know, the I guess the time that that I trade instead of meditating playing Call of
yeah,
Duty. Right, other people box. That's how I get it out. No, but
that's
no.
fair.
I mean, listen. RP1, I think that this is going to be a reality like much sooner than you're thinking. And I think that what's going to not on the VR perspective, but on the AR perspective. Apple this summer most likely is going to be announcing. Remember, I come from the consumer electronic world for my Web2 company, right? Apple is going to most likely announce like AR. AR kit is almost out there from a development standpoint, like as a framework. So you walking towards Blue Bottle Coffee or Starbucks or whatever, and without pulling out your phone, wearing some kind of like glasses to start with, lenses in a few years, right? And having the ability to participate in a giveaway or do this or do that, I think that's natural, right? And then combining digital assets, NFT technology, blockchain technology on top of it to wrap it all up, that's a natural evolution of the space as well, if you think about it, right? So I feel like on a personal level, everything is going to be digital. I feel like most of the games, with the average consumer, let me put it this way: the average consumer will have the ability to generate meaningful income by playing games. The average consumer.
Yeah.
Does that mean that everyone is going to just quit their jobs, their 9 to 5, to be a gamer and play Call of Duty or World of Warcraft every day? Absolutely no. But that means that when you're giving $40 for a season pass every quarter to Call of Duty to Activision, that $40 is going to turn into an investment. It's not going to be just an expense anymore.
Mm,
That $40 might help you unlock $1,000 asset. If you're good enough, a $10,000 asset. I don't think that everyone will turn into a millionaire, right? Not even close. But instead of just spending, you're now investing in a sense.
Mm.
And you're also part of a community and ecosystem. I don't expect, obviously, all the Web2 brands to build their Discords, right, or Telegram groups. Yeah. But you're going to be part of the game. You're not just going to be playing the game for the sake of playing it, or just being a part of the KPI who have 100 million active users or gamers, right?
Damn, I love that what you said. That's basically, it's an investment instead of spending in the metaverse. That's a great way to put it. I literally just made a note for my editor for later, so he doesn't miss that one for a soundbite. I love that. Well, okay. Well, while we're talking about that, because that stuff makes me fucking happy. While we're talking about people making money from doing stuff that shouldn't make them money, guys, y'all are watching the show in the Joyage Kingdom, and y'all know what that means. It's fucking time. I would normally play my sounds, and I would have some crickets or something while I choose this winner, but I'm gonna choose this giveaway winner. So if you guys want to enter, you have about 5 seconds left. All you have to do is hit the retweet button on the space. Be following the three, or I guess you're technically not co-host right now, but Evan is at the top there, Mintify, and myself on Spaces. Give us a follow, hit the retweet button, and then screenshot where you're at and tweet it. All the giveaway instructions were there. We talked about it a couple times. The winner for this NFT giveaway or Joyage Kingdom closed giveaway is Emmy_Huntress. Congratulations. You are the winner. I'm going to let's see. Woo! The emoji that normally, like a sound that normally plays. I'm gonna DM you right now, because
let's go.
Let's fucking go. Every time I don't DM the winner, someone makes a fake account within 5 seconds, and then they try and scam me, and I've fallen.
I know. I actually fell for that. When we done our first Twitter giveaway back in January, we gave away like one pass, and there was a guy with a verified account that reached out and like, hey, I won the pass. Send me this and that. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was Twitter bugged or my eyes were bugged, but I actually sent it to the wrong person. I mean,
I worked with the guy. We were doing a giveaway, and we were giving away and a kid called Beast. At that time, it was over in ETH, and he sent it to the wrong account, and he had to buy. He ended up he's fine. He's good money wise, so he ended up buying another one and giving it away. But I was like, dude, fuck, this like, piece of shit just got $2,000 handed to him.
Don't you feel like Twitter sometimes is like a landmine? The everything, it's more about avoid. Oh, that's something credible, right?
Yeah.
Versus and it should have been the opposite. I don't know. I feel like it improved over the last year, but the amount of people that I see on my feed, people that I follow, people that I respect, that I've been interacting with for like over a year at this point in the Web3 space, that fall for these scammers is just plain awful, dude.
It's wild, dude. But Instagram's worse, in my opinion, dude. Every out of 10 people that are following me on Instagram, 8 of them end up being bots. Like every time I get a notification, it's like, hey, you got a new follower. I'm like, oh, great. And I go, it's like some random fake account with like all these really blurry pictures. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like that is literally like 80% of Instagram right now. But anyways, I know you got to head out of here. I appreciate your fucking time. Let's do a cut, like 2 questions, rapid fire Q&A. What's your favorite food or favorite food chain?
Food, I would say sushi. I big fan. I've traveled to Japan in 2017.
I'm half Japanese. I was there in 2017 too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I was in Osaka. I mean, like aside of the restaurants, obviously, even Osaka's like food market. Oh my god, insane.
Japanese food is the fucking best. And then finally, 100%. final question: do you have a favorite TV show or favorite TV show or favorite video game?
Video game, I would say obviously Warzone as of now, but I grew up with World of Warcraft, and I'm a big fan of Blizzard in general.
Oh yeah.
And then TV shows, so many, dude. I'm not gonna go for the basic ones. I'd say Game of Thrones was one of my favorite ones.
Oh baby, I'm rewatching it right now to see what I missed the first time around. I love it.
I feel like, I actually bought the 4K HDR version. I got this nice TV last year, and I rewatched the whole thing. I loved it.
Such a good show. House of Dragon, I love too. I'm a fucking nerd for all that stuff, bro. Like I love medieval shit. I love Egyptian stuff. Anything old, vintage stuff is so cool to me. I love it.
Yeah, you should also watch Vikings. I mean, it doesn't even get close to Game of Thrones, but it's quite nice, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Yep. Well, listen, I had a great time with you. Emmy, just once again, congratulations. Wolf Boys forever, I see here. Wolf Boy PFP. Love it. Guys, also, if you are watching the show, you guys know we do you know, who knows? Every few months, I feel like I go on a new endeavor. But right now, the podcasting has been crushing it. We have a lot of cool podcasts coming up as well. This Thursday at 12 p.m. PST, I have Patrick, or That Investor. He's been blowing up on TikTok. He's figured out the algorithm. So I'm very excited to talk about content, NFTs, Web3, crypto. He's more of a crypto guy. But we have a lot of podcasts coming up. I'm fucking excited. Evan, I had a great time talking to you, dude. Well, hopefully we'll have you back on, talk about Mintify stuff. If you guys have anything coming up and you're like, yo, we want to, you know, line up like a show with whatever's coming up.
Yeah.
This is great.
First of all, thanks for having me. I had a blast as well. We do have something big coming up in June.
Oh, yeah.
So head over to our website, mintify.xyz. You might find like the rewards page there. I would recommend you sign up for it to get notified.
Oh shit. All right, guys, you heard the fucking alpha here. You heard the alpha here. Guys, I want to say again, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, hit that retweet button if you're in Spaces. It's the best way to support if you enjoy this conversation. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the retweets, hit the subscribes, or you can't retweet on YouTube. Do all the things, guys. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful.